Hi everyone, welcome to English Story School, where we unlock the magic of language through captivating storytelling. Join us on this journey to learn English in a fun and engaging way. Have you ever wondered how a single recipe can weave a tapestry of memories, laughter, and love in a family? Today, I want to take you on a journey through my family's cherished recipe, a dish that has brought us together for generations and holds stories that are as rich as its flavor. As I sit here reminiscing about those moments, I'm reminded of my grandmother, who would often say, "Food is the thread that binds us." Growing up, our kitchen was a bustling hub, especially on Sundays. That was the day my grandmother would gather us all for a special meal. The moment I stepped into her house, the tantalizing aroma of her famous chicken pot pie enveloped me, instantly making me feel at home. Each ingredient seemed to hold a story. The chicken from the local market, where my grandmother knew everyone, the fresh vegetables from her garden, and the flaky crust that she made from scratch. As a child, I would often find myself captivated by the sight of my grandmother in the kitchen, a bustling arena of creativity and warmth. She had a rhythm to her movements that seemed almost choreographed, mixing, rolling, and shaping the dough with a grace that came from years of practice. Each time I watched her, it felt like witnessing a performance, one that had been perfected through countless family gatherings. Her hands, seasoned and skilled, danced effortlessly over the countertop, transforming simple ingredients into something extraordinary. But what truly made the experience magical was the way she infused every step with an undeniable sense of love. It wasn't just about baking, it was about the connection we shared in those moments. As she mixed the flour with her fingers, she would hum softly, a tune passed down through generations, its melody interwoven with nostalgia. Each sprinkle of flour felt like a sprinkle of joy, each dash of salt a reminder of the balance we seek in life. As the dough began to take shape under her careful touch, she would weave in stories from her own childhood. With each fold of the dough, she would transport me back to a time when she was a little girl, helping her own grandmother in a small kitchen, much like ours. I could almost see it, the tiny wooden table, the sun streaming through the window, and the two of them giggling as they tried to roll out a stubborn pie crust that just wouldn't cooperate. Her tales were rich with details, filled with laughter and hardships alike. She spoke of how her family faced challenges during tough times, whether it was the scarcity of ingredients during a harsh winter or the struggles they endured to keep their small farm running. But even in those hard moments, there was a sense of resilience that shone through. She would say, "Every hardship is a lesson, my dear." And it was clear that these experiences shaped her into the strong, loving woman I knew. Listening to her stories wasn't just entertainment. They were lessons about resilience, family, and the importance of togetherness. She would pause occasionally to look into my eyes, ensuring I understood the depth of her words. "It's not just the food that nourishes us," she would say, her voice soft yet firm. "It's the love we share while making it." In those moments, I learned that food was a bridge connecting generations, a way to honor our past while embracing the present. As we shaped the dough together, she would let me take part in the process. She encouraged me to press my tiny fingers into the dough, teaching me how to feel its texture and understand its transformation. "Cooking is like life, you see," she would say. "You have to pay attention, be patient, and sometimes make a little mess along the way." I took those words to heart, not just in the kitchen, but in everything I did. It was during those afternoons that I truly grasped the significance of our family traditions. The act of creating something delicious wasn't merely a means to an end. It was a sacred ritual that drew us closer together. Each pie we made carried with it the essence of our family history, a story of perseverance, love, and the unbreakable bonds that define us. As I grew older, I came to appreciate not just the recipe itself, but the legacy it represented. Each time I rolled out the dough or added a pinch of spice, I felt as though I was channeling my grandmother's spirit, honoring the stories that shaped our family and ensuring that they would continue to resonate through generations to come. Those moments in the kitchen became a tapestry of memories, each thread woven with love, laughter, and lessons that I would carry with me for a lifetime. In reflecting on those afternoons, I understand now that the magic of our family recipe was never just about the food. It was about the connections we forged, the love we shared, and the stories that will continue to nourish our family for years to come. As the pie baked in the oven, its golden crust bubbling and browning, the kitchen transformed into a haven of warmth and anticipation. The sweet, savory aroma enveloped us, drawing my siblings and me closer to the heart of the home. We would gather around the kitchen table, a sturdy old oak piece that had witnessed countless family meals, each scratch and dent telling its own story. Laughter filled the air, a joyous symphony that blended seamlessly with the gentle ticking of the clock and the soft hum of the oven. In those moments, I discovered the true essence of family traditions. They weren't merely rituals dictated by time, they were profound connections that spanned generations. My grandmother, the matriarch of our family, had established this sacred Sunday gathering, a time when we could pause our busy lives and come together. As the pie cooked, we would share stories, crack jokes, and relive fond memories, our voices creating an atmosphere rich with warmth and love. My siblings and I would eagerly set the table, a task we approached with playful competitiveness. Each of us claimed our favorite spots: the head of the table, the cozy corner, the one with the best view of the kitchen. It became a little ritual of its own, complete with friendly teasing about who had the best seat. The simple act of laying out plates, forks, and napkins transformed into a fun game, a prelude to the feast that awaited us. As we arranged the tableware, I could feel the excitement building. Conversations flowed easily, with each of us contributing our own snippets of the week, school projects, funny encounters, and plans for the future. In those moments, it felt like we were constructing a fortress of togetherness, one that could withstand the chaos of the outside world. The clattering of dishes and the gentle laughter created a comforting backdrop, a reminder that we belonged to something larger than ourselves. When the time finally came to sit down, it was like entering a sacred space. As we took our places, the world outside seemed to fade away. The hustle and bustle, the distractions of technology, and the pressures of daily life all fell silent. Our kitchen table became a sanctuary, a place where time stood still, and the only thing that mattered was the food before us and the people we loved. Once seated, my grandmother would ceremoniously cut the pie, each slice a work of art. As she placed the first piece on my plate, I would savor the moment, knowing that I was not just receiving food, but a piece of our family's history. We would all hold hands, and my grandmother would lead us in a short blessing, a heartfelt acknowledgement of the food and the company we were about to enjoy. With the first bite, flavors burst in my mouth, a delightful mix of spices and comfort that felt like a warm hug. The pie was more than just a dish. It was a manifestation of love, the culmination of stories shared and memories created. As we ate, the conversation flowed effortlessly, weaving in and out like a rich tapestry. We would reminisce about previous family gatherings, recounting the hilarious mishaps that had occurred, like the time the pie almost fell off the counter or when my brother accidentally mistook salt for sugar. In these moments, I realized how crucial it was to nurture these traditions. They weren't just about the food, they were about creating a sense of belonging and continuity. Each gathering reinforced our shared identity, and as we laughed and talked, I felt a deep connection, not just to my immediate family, but to those who had come before us. My grandmother often spoke of her own childhood dinners with her siblings, and I could see how each meal was a thread connecting us all. As the evening wore on and the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow through the kitchen window, the laughter continued. We would share dreams, plans for the week ahead, and sometimes even debates about silly topics. Who would win in a superhero showdown, or which movie was the best of all time? Each discussion was filled with enthusiasm, and I cherished how these simple moments fostered a bond that transcended generations. Those family dinners around the kitchen table taught me invaluable lessons about love, resilience, and togetherness. They instilled in me the understanding that traditions, while simple in nature, hold the power to create lasting memories. As the pie baked and the laughter rang out, I knew I was part of something beautiful, a legacy of love that would continue to thrive, one meal at a time. When the timer rang, a sound that echoed with promise throughout the kitchen, we all perked up, eyes gleaming with anticipation. There was something almost magical about that moment, a collective hush that fell over us as we turned our attention to the oven. The golden pie, perfectly browned and bubbling, emerged like a treasure from the depths of the oven, and we knew we were in for a treat. As my grandmother placed the pie on the cooling rack, the warm, inviting aroma enveloped us like a comforting embrace. Each slice that she carefully cut revealed not just layers of flavor, but also layers of love and history. The flaky crust, golden and crisp, cradled a hearty filling, bursting with vibrant vegetables and tender chicken. But beyond the deliciousness, each bite carried with it a story, a testament to countless hours spent in the kitchen, learning and laughing together. We gathered around the table, our excitement palpable, as my grandmother served each of us a generous slice. The pie sat proudly at the center, a masterpiece that had taken time, care, and tradition to create. As we settled into our seats, the atmosphere buzzed with the energy of anticipation. It was more than just a meal. It was an event, a celebration of family and togetherness. With the first bite, the flavors danced on our tongues, a delightful symphony of savory and sweet. I closed my eyes for a moment, letting the tastes wash over me. The combination of spices, the creaminess of the filling, and the perfectly baked crust blended together in a way that felt both familiar and extraordinary. But it was the warmth of the moment that made it truly special. As we savored each bite, our conversations began to flow, each person eager to share their own stories, school victories, silly mishaps, and dreams for the future. "Remember when I won the spelling bee?" my sister chimed in, her eyes sparkling with pride. She recounted the moment with animated gestures, mimicking her nervousness before stepping onto the stage. We all laughed, recalling how she had mispronounced one of the words in her practice rounds, leading to a comical scene that we still teased her about. My brother, never one to miss a chance to be the center of attention, jumped in with his own tale. "Well, that's nothing compared to when I tried to impress my friends by riding my bike down the steep hill. Let's just say I ended up in the bushes. His exaggerated reenactment had us in stitches, the sound of our laughter ringing through the room, a joyful counterpoint to the gentle clinking of forks against plates. And then it was my turn. I shared my recent school project, how I had poured my heart into it, and how proud I felt when my teacher praised my efforts. In that moment, as I recounted my little triumph, I felt the support of my family surrounding me, a warm blanket that wrapped me in encouragement and pride. As the conversation continued, the pie slowly disappeared, but our stories multiplied. We ventured into dreams, each of us sharing aspirations for the future. My sister's ambition to become an artist, my brother's dream of building the fastest car, and my own hope of traveling the world. The table became a sanctuary for our ambitions, a space where we could be ourselves without fear of judgment or ridicule. With every shared story, I felt a deeper connection, not only to my family, but to the essence of who we were. This wasn't just about food. It was about nurturing our spirits and fortifying our bonds. The act of sharing a meal transformed into an opportunity to share our lives, our fears, and our hopes. The kitchen table, with its scars and stories, became a sacred place where love flowed as freely as the food. As we finished the last pieces of pie, we lingered at the table, reluctant to let the moment slip away. The conversation shifted to light-hearted banter, playful teasing that made us all feel like kids again. It was during these exchanges that I realized how these family dinners were more than just a tradition. They were the fabric of our family history, woven together with threads of laughter, tears, and unwavering support. In those precious moments, I understood that the pie was a symbol of our family, a delicious reminder that no matter the challenges we faced outside these walls, within this space, we had each other. The love we infused into our meals, the stories we shared, and the dreams we nurtured at that table became the foundation upon which our family was built. And as we cleared the plates and savored the last remnants of pie, I felt grateful, knowing that these moments were the true essence of family, an enduring legacy that would carry us through life, one meal at a time. As I grew older, my understanding of the significance of my grandmother's recipe deepened profoundly. What had once been a simple and delicious meal transformed into something much greater, a legacy that resonated with the very essence of our family. Each time we gathered around the table, sharing that comforting chicken pot pie, I started to realize that it was more than just food. It was a tangible connection to my past, a vessel for memories, love, and resilience that had been passed down through generations. In my teenage years, as life became busier with school, friends, and the inevitable changes that come with growing up, I felt an urgency to preserve this recipe and all that it represented. I didn't want the stories, the laughter, and the lessons of the kitchen to fade into obscurity like so many things often do in the rush of modern life. It became increasingly clear to me that if I wanted to keep these traditions alive, I had to take action. So, I embarked on a personal mission to document my grandmother's recipe, to capture every detail with the same love and care that she infused into her cooking. I remember the day vividly. I pulled out my journal, a simple, well-worn notebook with pages that had absorbed countless thoughts, doodles, and dreams. I sat at the kitchen table, the familiar scents swirling around me, ready to commit to paper the heart of our family's culinary history. With my grandmother by my side, I meticulously observed her every move. As she prepared the ingredients, I watched how her hands worked with such confidence and ease, almost as if they were dancing. She expertly measured the flour, letting it cascade into the bowl like a soft white cloud, and I noted the way she would always add a little extra pinch, a secret gesture that spoke volumes about her intuitive understanding of cooking. "Don't forget the love," she reminded me with a wink, her eyes sparkling. I smiled, understanding that this wasn't just about precision. It was about intention. I carefully documented not just the quantities of ingredients, but the essence of what she did, how she combined the spices with care, how she would pause to smell them, savoring their aroma before they became part of the dish. Every step became an opportunity for storytelling. As she chopped vegetables, she shared tales of her own grandmother, who had taught her to cook in a tiny kitchen filled with sunlight. I could almost see the younger version of my grandmother, a girl learning the ropes, laughter spilling over as she fumbled with the knife, just as I did now. Each anecdote deepened my appreciation for the journey that had led us to that very moment, bridging the gap between generations and reminding me that food was never just about sustenance. It was about connection. I began to take careful notes, writing down her words verbatim, trying to capture not only the recipe, but the spirit behind it. "A pinch of salt to enhance the flavors," she would say, "and a touch of patience to let the dish come alive." Her wisdom resonated in my heart, and I made sure to jot down every piece of advice, each nugget of knowledge that felt timeless. As I continued to document the process, I could feel the weight of responsibility growing within me. I wanted to ensure that this cherished recipe would endure, that it would be shared with future generations just as it had been shared with me. I envisioned my own children, years down the line, gathering around the same table, sharing in the magic of that pie. I wanted them to feel the warmth and love that enveloped our family, to hear the laughter echoing off the walls as they created their own memories. In the evenings, after I finished writing, I would find myself lost in thought, reflecting on how this recipe was a microcosm of our family's history. It was a reminder of the struggles we had overcome, the love that had nurtured us, and the traditions that had anchored us. I felt a deep sense of gratitude for the effort my grandmother had poured into not only the food, but the relationships she had cultivated through it. As my notebook filled with pages of detailed instructions, heartfelt notes, and the stories that surrounded each ingredient, I felt a profound sense of connection to my grandmother. It was as if her spirit was guiding my pen, encouraging me to keep our family's legacy alive. Each time I returned to the kitchen, the pie took on new layers of meaning for me. I was no longer just a passive observer. I was an active participant in a rich tapestry of tradition. I also started to experiment, adding my own twists to the recipe while still honoring the original. I'd sneak in a bit of rosemary or try a different vegetable combination, all the while maintaining the essence of what made it special. Each time I cooked the dish, I felt like I was honoring my grandmother while also creating a space for my own creativity. It was a beautiful dance between tradition and innovation, a way to keep the recipe alive while allowing it to evolve. Through this journey, I came to realize that food, particularly family recipes like this one, is a powerful thread that binds us. It carries with it not only flavor, but also history, stories, and love that are meant to be shared and cherished. And as I stood in that kitchen, mixing, kneading, and shaping, I felt an overwhelming sense of pride and purpose. I was not just preserving a recipe. I was safeguarding a piece of our family's soul, ensuring that the laughter, love, and lessons woven into each bite would continue to echo through the years. But it wasn't just about preserving the recipe. It was about creating new memories that would weave together the past and the present in a beautiful tapestry of connection. I realized that while the chicken pot pie held deep significance in my family history, there was a whole world of flavors and experiences waiting to be explored. With that thought in mind, I decided to invite friends over to cook with me, sharing not only the recipe but also the rich stories that accompanied it. I remember the first gathering vividly. Excitement buzzed in the air as my friends arrived, each bringing their own energy and culinary curiosity. The kitchen, usually a space for intimate family gatherings, now transformed into a vibrant hub of laughter, chatter, and the clattering of pots and pans. I greeted each friend with a warm smile, and we quickly gathered around the kitchen island, ready to dive into this new adventure together. As we laid out the ingredients, fresh vegetables, tender chicken, and fragrant herbs, I could see the intrigue in their eyes. I began to explain the history behind the recipe, recounting the moments spent with my grandmother, her gentle guidance, and the love that infused every dish she made. They listened intently, and I could tell that they felt the weight of the story behind the meal we were about to create. With each step of the cooking process, I encouraged everyone to take part, to roll up their sleeves and get their hands into the floury mix. It was liberating to see my friends dive into the experience, some chopping vegetables with enthusiasm, while others measured out spices, their faces lighting up with creativity. We started to talk about our own family traditions, sharing little snippets of our pasts as we cooked. One friend, Eleanor, mentioned her grandmother's famous empanadas, filled with savory beef and spices. Every Sunday, we would all gather in her kitchen, she said, her eyes sparkling with nostalgia. She would tell us stories about her childhood in Argentina while we rolled out the dough. Inspired by her story, we decided to incorporate some of her grandmother's spices into our pot pie, adding a touch of cumin for warmth and flavor. Another friend, Marco, shared his experience of making pizza with his Italian family. "We always gather for pizza night," he said, a grin spreading across his face. "Everyone brings their own toppings, and it turns into a friendly competition." Hearing this sparked an idea. We could create a pot pie that reflected all our backgrounds, a true celebration of cultures. As the filling simmered on the stove, we began experimenting. I suggested that we try a blend of vegetables that represented everyone's heritage. Marco diced up sweet peppers, while Eleanor brought in some olives, adding a burst of flavor that was entirely unexpected yet delightful. We laughed and debated over which spices to add, each suggestion leading to more animated discussions. It was a joyful chaos, a beautiful mess that felt invigorating and alive. When it came time to prepare the crust, I handed out pieces of dough to each person, showing them how to roll it out and shape it. Everyone's creativity flourished as we crafted individual pies, each one unique in design. Some created classic round shapes, while others made playful twists with the dough, turning it into animals or abstract shapes. It became a display of our personalities and a reflection of our shared experiences. As we slid the pots into the oven, the kitchen was filled with the warm, inviting aroma of baking crust, mingling with the savory filling. We settled around the table, the excitement palpable, eagerly anticipating the moment we could dig in. While the pies baked, we shared even more stories, our hopes, our dreams, and the adventures we wished to embark on. It felt like a bonding ritual, reinforcing our connections as friends, weaving our lives together through food and laughter. When the timer finally chimed, it was like a crescendo in our culinary symphony. The pies emerged, golden and bubbling, and we could hardly contain our excitement. Each pie reflected our collaborative effort, the flavors melding together to create something entirely new yet familiar. We gathered around the table, our plates filled with slices of our creations, each bite a revelation. With the first forkful, we exchanged glances, eyes wide with delight. The combination of flavors was incredible. The earthiness of the chicken, the brightness of the added spices, and the richness of the crust enveloped us in warmth. It was a moment of pure bliss, and we all agreed that this was not just any chicken pot pie. It was a tapestry of our cultures, a celebration of our friendship, and a new memory crafted in the spirit of collaboration. As we savored our meal, the conversation flowed effortlessly. We reminisced about the process of making the pies, the laughter that erupted over the flour fights, and the impromptu taste tests we had conducted. I could see how this experience deepened our bonds, transforming casual friends into a chosen family, united by a shared love of food and connection. From that day on, these cooking gatherings became a regular tradition in my life. Each time we made the chicken pot pie, we would incorporate new twists, new stories, and new friends. The recipes grew, evolving and expanding, creating a dynamic exchange of flavors and cultures that enriched our experiences. It was as if the pot pie had become a canvas on which we painted our diverse backgrounds, a way to honor our heritage while celebrating our shared journey. Through these gatherings, I came to understand that food is a powerful connector. It breaks down barriers and fosters understanding, allowing us to embrace our differences while celebrating what makes us unique. Every slice of pie told a story, not just of my family's history, but of the friendships and memories we were building together. It became a delightful blend of flavors and experiences, a testament to the beauty of connection through food, and a reminder that the kitchen can be a sacred space for creativity, laughter, and love. As I look back on those moments, I realize how deeply intertwined food and family truly are. The act of cooking together has a way of breaking down barriers and fostering understanding. It creates a space where laughter and conversation flow freely, and where the bonds of family are strengthened, no matter how far apart we may be. So, as you think about your own family traditions, I encourage you to reflect on the recipes that have shaped your gatherings. What stories do they tell? What memories do they evoke? Food has a unique power to bring people together. And in a world that often feels divided, these moments of connection are more important than ever. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.